So I was driving the other day when disaster struck and I ran into a family of five and totaled my car, which did not happen because I'm a professional driver. But I did have an enlightening experience with a life-changing lesson that really changed my life because, you almost die and then you're like, wow, I learned my lesson, and then you never make the mistake again. But, oh well, it was still a mistake, and I'm going to share that lesson to save lives and show just how stupid I was. Basically, to start the story, I was driving home and I was merging onto a highway which was going west, due west at around 5 p.m. And if you know anything about driving west at around 5 p.m., is your screen looks something like this guy, except it's a lot bigger, so it looks like that, right? This is all you see when you're driving due west at like sunset. So usually people have like that little box that they pull out of the sky and it magically shows up and boom, boom, boom. It blocks the sun, right? Everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. The thing you pull out from the sky and it just blocks the sun. That usually works. Not at approximately sunset time when you're going due west. It doesn't work because you have a box and it allegedly blocks out the sun. But then, oh, this little guy is underneath. Oh, and boom, you're dead. So that's basically what happened to me. I was merging onto the highway. I went onto the highway and within 5 seconds I realized the sun is there and I can't see crap and it's Jover. I'm dead. But that's not the only issue because everyone's seen the sun. Everyone's probably drove at some point around the time of sunset going west, or just at least had the experience of the sun being in their face. It's not the end of the world, and everyone on the highway was still driving except for me because something else was inhibiting my vision. A second mistake, if you will, that terrified me to the core, right? Because usually when you're looking and the sun is there, you just see the sun and then maybe like some beams across your screen that just like make seeing extra difficult. But despite everything, you can see the road, right? You can see the trees, the happy little trees everywhere. Everything's fine. You just feel a little blind and high because the sun is in your face. But not me. Not only was the sun in my face, my entire like screen or the windshield, whatever you want to call it, was just like that. And imagine it's not transparent, like in this scenario where it's not transparent. You couldn't see anything. So the front view was completely blind. I couldn't see anything. I look left, similar situation. Right, similar situation. And would you look at that? I look through the windshield. Oh, guess what's in the windshield? The exact same thing. I can't see anything in any side of my car whatsoever. So we need to go back an hour when the car was blasting the heater really big and it was really hot in the car. So I said, let's turn off the heater. Except I don't know my cars, right? The Volkswagen is a very complicating device. So I pressed some random button and I turned off defrost. And an hour later, over time, guess what was happening to my windows? They were getting all fogged up. There was something like constructing my vision other than the sun, right? It wasn't just the sun blinding me. It was my own windows getting goddamn fogged up by air because it's like 30 degrees outside and I need defrost on, and my defrost just wasn't on for some reason because I'm an idiot. I don't know how to use a Volkswagen, but like I didn't have defrost on, right? So over time, your windows will slowly but surely look something like this, where it's just like, oh, why is visibility suddenly terrible? So imagine that, but on top of that, you got beams of sun, and you can imagine what happened. I thought God himself laid a blanket over my car and said, frick you, buddy, you thought you could see while you could drive? Heck no, you don't get to see, you don't deserve nothing. I'm gonna put this blanket over your car, and you're gonna crash and die alone. And I'm like, I bet, I'm dead. So that's basically what happened. The sun, I was seeing somewhat okay. For some reason, my brain toned out the fact that my vision was slowly being obstructed by condensation on my windows, but it was still visible, right? This is 50% transparency. I can still kind of see, so I managed with it. But then suddenly when the sun doubles your blindness, you literally can't see anything. So I merged onto the highway within 5 seconds. I dropped from like 60 miles per hour to 0 because I pulled over and I stopped and I thought to myself, something's obstructing my vision other than the sun. Because if everyone else is seeing the same sun I am, then they would all be pulling over. But there's something else. And I realized there was something fogging up my window. So I went outside the car and started rubbing the outside of the window, and I'm like, nothing is happening. So I went inside and I realized it's not on the outside of the car, it's on the inside of the car. So I started rubbing the windows on the inside of the car. I'm like, alright, I can see now. And then finally it clicked. Finally, like 10 minutes after the disaster struck, I was like, oh, I need to turn on defrost, and that'll fix all the. I don't have to wipe it down like a manual laborer or peasant. I'm supposed to press the defrost button, and all the fog gets off my screen instantaneously. Not instant. It took like 30 minutes to defrost, but either way, I'm an idiot. I turned off defrost on accident. In fact, I didn't even know how defrost worked. In my entire experience of driving, which is not very long, but in my entire experience of driving, I've never actually thought about using defrost. Probably because it's not been that cold until recently, and it's like winter nowadays, where I live at least. So, defrost actually came in handy. I was wiping down windows like a peasant before I realized I don't need to do this. I can press a button. I pressed the button, defrost activated, and then nothing happened for at least 10 minutes until the defrost finally kicked in, and boom! Guess what the windows look like after you get rid of defrost? Like this. You can see the road. You can see the trees. You can see the blue skies. It looks so much more normal, I guess. But yeah, the moral of the story is don't go out driving due west at around 5 p.m. or whatever time sunset is depending on the season. And then also turn on defrost when it's cold, because like without defrost you're literally operating at like 20% visibility, which without realizing it is actually like pretty garbage. So I'm blessed, God bless America and all that, because I definitely could have gone into something horrible for the 5 seconds that I was literally blind. I can't express how much like fog plus sun is genuine blindness. Like you literally, it's like God put a blanket over me. Like I'm not even joking, just zero visibility. But that happened, and for 5 seconds, I used my giga genius brain and said, if I can't see anything, I probably shouldn't be driving. So I pulled over and I saved everyone's life. And I defrosted my goddamn window, and then I went back on the road like a champ and drove home like a champ without any issue. So, moral of the story, I'm Superman, defrost your window, and don't drive in the sun. Something like that. Good night.